want to study in Holland? Of course you want to study in Holland. The next 100 seconds will definitely convince you. All right, let's go. Study in Holland. Every year, many international students undergo the Dutch experience. But what does this mean? What makes studying in Holland so great? Holland is really internationally oriented. I mean, where else would you find students from over 160 different countries? 1 out of 10 students is an international student. Did you know that we have more than 2,100 English talk programs? Pretty good, right? You know what's even better? The quality of our education. You won't find this quality of education at such an affordable rate anywhere else. The open-mindedness of the Dutch people is reflected in the way we educate. It's in the way we teach, the way we interact, in the way we work together. Once you're done studying here, Holland offers a ton of opportunities for entrepreneurs and job seekers. Holland is the home of some of the world's biggest multinationals such as Philips, Shell, and many more. We even have a special 1-year program for you to get employed called Orientation Year. You can be part of the Holland Alumni Network for everyone who had the Dutch experience. How much time do I have left? What? 30 seconds? Well, that's enough time for some facts. Dutch people are the best non-native English speakers in the world. Holland is also one of the happiest and safest countries, and our educational institutions rank among the world's top 2%. But there's more to Holland. Holland is creative, high-tech, diverse, innovative, nicely located, exciting, has a unique cuisine and a rich history. We've got a unique culture and very welcoming people. Just barely made it. So now you know why you should study in Holland.
Hello everyone, good morning or good afternoon. Welcome to today's Study in the Netherlands session. My name is Svetelina, and together with my colleague Pavel, today we're hosting the presentation of Studying in the Netherlands together with 3 friends. It is my pleasure to welcome today Roosevelt, Veronica from Erasmus University Rotterdam, and Marina from Nuffic, Russia. Today's session will take approximately 1 hour. We'll start with a general introduction on the Netherlands as a study destination, and then both universities will talk about their specific programs. We will finish with a Q&A session, questions and answers, so feel free to ask all your questions in the chat, which you can see on the right-hand side of your screen, and we will surely get back to you to the end. So without further ado, I would like to pass the word on to Marina from Nuffic, Russia, on a short introduction, why the Netherlands, which was probably your choice too, right, Marina?
Yes, thank you so much, Lina. Welcome everyone. My name is Marina. I'm a student counselor at Nuffic, Russia. First of all, I would like to tell you what is Nuffic and why we are here. Nuffic is the non-commercial organization located in The Hague. So our home office is there. And Nuffic is the Netherlands Expertise and Service Center for Internationalization of Education. It has 10 local offices located in different countries, such as in Russia, in China, in Mexico, in Vietnam. And I will right now send you the link for you if you would like to check what countries are covered. So basically what we are doing as NESO, we are concentrating in making connections between the Russian universities and the Dutch universities. We are giving the one-to-one consultations to the students about how can they go to study in the Netherlands. We also work with the Dutch students who would like to come to Russia. Together with the Netherlands Embassy in Moscow, we do run the Dutch Science Talks project, which is a series of open lectures by the Dutch researchers. We also do have different projects such as the Dutch language courses and many, many more. So if you would like to learn more, just you can later on check the presentation. It will be shared with you. And all of this information are the active links, so you can follow them as well. Basically, welcome to the Netherlands. And why do you choose? I think today we'll speak more about it, but there are different beneficials that you can get from it. So more than 2,000 English taught programs you can choose from them. And you can for sure study in Dutch if you'd like to, if you know Dutch, but you do not necessarily need to. There are quite a big number of scholarships available for non-EU students, which is also important for us and for our students. And still, the value of money, what does it mean? That the quality of education and the cost of education, they're amazing if to compare with a lot of countries. There are just fantastic career opportunities, and you probably heard about the orientation year, which allows all the graduates of the universities to stay 1 year more in the Netherlands for the job search. And you can for sure use all the opportunities that are given by the Holland Alumni Network, and it is really an active association, and you can definitely get a lot from it. So for sure, you can also contact us, and I will help today in this session to answer some questions in the chat during the session and probably later on after the session. So you're more than welcome to ask and to now get your answers. And now I'm happy to give the floor for the universities. Thank you.
All right. Before we dive into our specific universities, Veronica and I thought we'd give you a little bit of information on studying in the Netherlands in general. Veronica is going to start you off with some general information now that she's managed to get our webcam and microphone work as well.
Yes, thank you, Denise, and a very warm welcome again to everybody who is joining us for this webinar today. Before Denise and I talk to you about our specific institutions, we would first of all like to give you a short introduction so you know what's it like to study in the Netherlands for a bit of contextual information. Just a small note, the introductory information here has been compiled by a consortium of Dutch universities, which means that this information is applicable to all of us as opposed to just the two of us who are present here today. So first things first, I guess the question that is on the mind of most of the students is coronavirus, of course, and what is happening with the Dutch universities during the pandemic. What is common to all of us is the fact that we are closely following the official advice of the Dutch government, which means that whatever measures that have been taken are in place because the well-being and healthcare of our students and staff comes as the #1 priority. What is different per institution, however, is the information that is posted on the FAQ Corona pages that the universities post on their websites, where they explain what measures have been taken exactly and what that means for the current as well as prospective international students. Naturally, we have been receiving a lot of questions from students about their admissibility to the Dutch universities. And what we can say with regard to that is that all of the diplomas that have been admissible before the pandemic, so IB, American diploma with APs, as well as A-levels, will continue to be accepted. Only students that do need to take an additional English language exam at the moment can only do so online if they take the TOEFL special edition at home, because it's the only online English test that is recognized across of the Dutch universities. Most of the universities were also able to extend our application deadlines to a later date for programs where this was a possibility. And in general, we can say that we are willing to be pretty flexible with the new applicants wherever it's possible again, but for reasons that are outside of our control, some applicants may have to reapply in the year 2021. Having said all that, the new academic year in the Netherlands will start in September 2020 with on-campus education if possible and online because it's possible. But once again, I would encourage you to read the information on the FAQ Corona page of the university of your interest. I believe a lot of the reasons to study in the Netherlands have already been shared both in the video and in Marina's presentation, so I will just recap the main ones. Quality is the #1 reason to come study in the Netherlands because all 13 research universities in the Netherlands are actually ranked in the top 250 globally by Times Higher Education. So in the end, it doesn't matter which one you go for because you are guaranteed a very high quality of education. These students come study one of our international programs, but they also have absolutely no difficulty speaking in English outside of campus because English is the unofficial second language here, which means that you do not need to learn Dutch in order to come and study an international program here. It is, of course, very advisable for all of the students to learn at least a little bit of a local language for your own cultural integration wherever you go. Our international students are also greeted with a range of soft landing activities that are available across all of the universities, and they can be ranging anything from pickup service at the airport to having a student body, as well as participating in the academic year kickoff activities that acquaint you not only with the student life, but also the city and campus. Geographically speaking, the Netherlands is a pretty small country, but it has its own distinct culture. So perhaps you have already heard about the King's Day, which is the public holiday in the Netherlands where it goes into orange madness, everyone wearing orange and the crowns to celebrate the birthday of the king. The relatively small distances between the cities also means that our international students are able to explore the country pretty easily. And one weekend you might find yourself on the train to Amsterdam, and another one you'll be biking to see the tulip fields. I bring up biking here for a reason because it is the #1 public means of transportation in the Netherlands, and everybody will be doing it here. Finally, the Dutch government has a history of supporting its higher education, which means that we do have a reputation for very affordable tuition fees. Here you can see an actual breakdown of the tuition fees for the next academic year. So students who are coming from the EU and the European Economic Area countries are going to be paying approximately 2,000 euros a year, and they're actually, they can get a sizable reduction in their first year. And students coming from outside of this area are looking to pay anything between 6,000 to 15,000 euros a year, which is substantially more. But if you look at the same quality programs elsewhere, you'll find that these tuition fees are still very affordable. I would advise you to check the tuition fees on the website of the university where you're interested to study, because there are some variations. On a monthly basis, you're looking to spend anything between 800 to 1,000 euros. And the biggest chunk of that is actually going to go into housing, but it very much depends on which city you're living in, as well as on your lifestyle, if you're going out a lot or more comfortable cooking at home and defrosting a pizza every once in a while. With that, I would like to give the floor to my colleague, Denise.
The reasons that we gave you in the video and in the previous part of the presentation has made you even more excited about studying in the Netherlands. But then the question becomes whether you are actually a good fit for the Netherlands. And we want to talk to you about that over the next couple of minutes before we dive into the specific university presentations. So the question is, are you a good student for the Netherlands? Are you someone who will do well in the Dutch higher education system? And there's a couple of just personality characteristics here on the slide that we feel are important to have if you want to come to the Netherlands, and I'm just going to highlight a few of them. First and foremost, you need to be interested in new cultural experiences, and you need to be a cross-cultural learner. Why? Obviously, you're coming to the Netherlands, and you're going to get all these wonderful experiences that that Veronica just told you about. But the society overall is actually very international. And the university programs that you're going to be signing up for will have anywhere between 30 and 80% international students. So if you're not the kind of person that likes to be in a very intercultural and very diverse community, the Netherlands might actually not be such a good fit for you. Another one that's really important, and it comes back in a number of these characteristics, is you need to be independent, you need to be personally responsible, and you need to be adept at time management. And the reason for that is that being independent and being able to speak up for yourself is a huge part of the Dutch culture and the way Dutch children are raised. And that also means that that happens in our universities as well. So while all the services might be available that you are looking for from a university, we are not going to chase you around, and you will need to speak up if you need our help. So just think about that as you're thinking about the Netherlands, and as you're thinking about that, the Netherlands being your study destination, if you're actually a good fit for the education as we offer it. Now, if you do think you're a good fit, then you need to obviously understand what's available in terms of higher education in the Netherlands. And it's then important to realize that there's really a binary system in the Netherlands. So we have two different types of higher education. There's universities of applied sciences. They offer professional higher education. And there's research universities, and they offer an academic type of education. So universities of applied science, is that for you? If you're a doer, if you are a student who asks, how do we do something? If you want to immediately apply the knowledge that you obtain in your program and apply it to a particular case and work with a company on a solution, then a University of Applied Science is the program for you to look at. They're 4-year bachelor's programs because they include 1 year of internship and work opportunity, because they prepare for a particular profession. They really prepare for the labor market. The research universities, on the other hand, are for students who like to ask why. Why do we do things the way we do them? For students who are comfortable with a very fast-paced and in-depth type of education that really asks you to ask critical questions. These are 3-year bachelor's programs, and they're highly academic and research-based programs. Both Veronica and I represent a research university, so that's why we are telling you a little bit about this distinction. But as you do your research into Dutch universities, you'll find both of these terms. Now, we were talking about fit and finding what is the right place for you. And actually, the kind of program that you're looking at, and I realize this is really tiny font, but the kind of program that you're looking for is going to determine which kind of institution you're going to apply for, because certain programs are only on offer at the University of Applied Science. So for example, something like marketing or tourism or teaching or physiotherapy prepares for a particular job, they're at the Universities of Applied Sciences. Things like law, medicine, economics, data science, archaeology, these kinds of programs are research-heavy programs and are therefore only on offer at the research universities. There are a couple of programs like business or design or engineering that are on offer at both applied sciences and research universities, and that is where it becomes really important to think about what kind of person you are and what kind of learning style you have, in order to determine what kind of program would be good for you. Now, that's just a general story, a little bit of why the Netherlands and a little bit of what you might find in the Netherlands. As I said, both Veronica and I work for research universities, and I think this is the time we start introducing you to our universities. And I think I'll kick it off, actually. So we're going to have a short video of University College Roosevelt. Um, I wanted to give you just an introduction as to what a day in a life of one of our students might look like. And in the next 10 minutes, I'm just going to introduce you a little bit to the academic program that we offer, what the student life is like, and of course, a little bit about finance specific to UCR and admissions specific to UCR. University College Roosevelt is a liberal arts and science college. So we offer a liberal arts and science education modeled after what they do in the US. And what that means, I'll explain in a little bit. What's important to know is that we're part of Utrecht University. So Utrecht University is the one that will give you your diploma, which is one of those top 100 universities worldwide. We are, however, not located in Utrecht. We are located in Middelburg, and Middelburg is a small historic town, as you saw in sort of the footage in the video, that is in the southwest of the Netherlands, and it's about 15 minutes from the beach, whichever way you go. Now, just to begin with, I wanted to share that we indeed are also looking at the corona virus and what it looks like for UCR. So right here you have the link that links to our frequently asked questions page related to corona. And I just wanted to make sure you have that before we get started on the real deal. Now, as I said, University College Roosevelt offers a liberal arts and science education. That means that we don't have a set curriculum. We don't have a determined way in what kind of courses you take. It is an education built around you and your specific interests. Now, I will go into how that works in a little bit of detail, but the link you have on the screen here will lead you to see what the different departments are in a little bit more detail than I can give you right now. But to understand the program as it is, you need to understand that our university is built up from 4 different departments. So we have an arts and humanities department, and in the arts and humanities department, you'll find disciplines like languages and linguistics, history, art history, philosophy, religious studies, and very specifically to UCR, because it's normally a University of Applied Science course, we also offer music performing. So for students who are looking at a conservatory type of education, that's in our arts and humanities department. We have an engineering department. It's new. It's launching actually this fall, although we've had a pilot program run for the last year. And the engineering department has courses in things like data science and robotics, electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, and biological and chemical engineering. And what makes the engineering department so interesting is that it has interdisciplinary projects where you'll be working with students from other engineering courses, but also from students who are maybe studying something completely different from you. We have a science department then where you'll find both biology-based sciences like biomedical science and life science and environmental science, as well as all the other natural sciences. So chemistry, physics, math, computer science, they are within our science department. And finally, we have a social science department where you'll find courses in things like economics, law, psychology, sociology, etc., etc. Now, the idea is, like I said, is that this is an education built around you. So we're not dictating the kinds of courses you're taking. And the idea is that you can do a combination of courses that suits your particular interest and your particular needs. So that means that if you're an engineering student and you have an interest predominantly in engineering and creating the newest technology, you might be taking courses in economics because you need to be able to sell your project, your product. If you're a medical student, you might be taking courses in philosophy and ethics because you're interested in ethical practice. That's the idea of the program as we offer it. Now, all of that comes in the package of a small university. So we only have 500 students in the university. That means that we can have relatively small classes. Our classes are never more than 25 students, although on average you're in a class with about 20 students. And that leads to an interactive type of education. You saw it in the video. A lot of what we do is not just a lecturer talking at you the way I'm talking at you now, but it is you engaging with your fellow students through discussions, debates, moot courts, student-led presentations, etc., etc. An important part of our education as well is that we work with continuous assessment. So we don't necessarily have one final exam at the end of your course, and that's the grade that you have for that particular class. But rather, all these different types of elements of your classes are being graded. So you might have to do a presentation, you do a research paper, you will write an exam. All these things are graded and they make up your grade for a course. So you're continuously involved and engaged with your learning process, your own, but also your peers. And the university, as a research university, has a strong focus on research, but especially so for UCR. Half of the budget that we have for research at the university is dedicated to students doing research, to you being able to go out and do field work or work in a lab, for you to be able to go out and present your work at a conference. So it's a big part. It starts in your very first week at UCR, where you'll be doing smaller projects. And it goes all the way until your graduation, where in your final year, you write a substantial piece of individual research. Now, that's the academic side of things at UCR. But of course, if you're looking at a university, you're not just looking at what the academics is, you're also looking at what it's like to be on that campus. So I do want to talk a little bit about housing and student life as well. First of all, housing. All of our 500 students, no matter whether they are from the Netherlands or from Russia or from anywhere else in the world, live on campus because UCR offers guaranteed and affordable housing for the duration of your program. So there's no need to worry about finding a place to live. We don't own the housing. The housing is owned by Villex, that's our housing corporation, and they have 4 campus locations for us. So there's 4 different locations within a walking distance from the university where students live. They're either student houses, very Dutch traditional, where you have your own private room, but you share a kitchen and bathroom with other students, or they're studio apartments, where you live in a building with just students, but you have your own private little everything. So the link that you were just given is a link to find out a little bit more about the different housing locations that we have. Student life then, of course, very important as you look at universities as well. And student life at UCR is very much organized by students for students. Of course, as a university, we'll host guest lectures and stuff like that. But the actual student life comes down to a couple of student boards. And I've put the 2 most important ones on the slide. First of all, RASA, that's our Roosevelt All Students Association, and you automatically become a member of that association as soon as you join a university. And they are the umbrella organization for all things social going on at the university. So they oversee all the 30+ committees doing anything from sports to debates to theater to parties to whatnots, as well as host a number of annual events and trips like a Christmas market or a summer trip or a ski trip or an end of semester barbecue. So that's RASA. The other important part of student life is Elliot. And Elliot is our common house, and Dee has already introduced it to you a little bit. It's the extension of the common room, the place where you as a family come together to eat something, to speak, to study, to play a game. And that's our common house. It's the social heart of the university. It's student run completely by volunteers, has study spaces, meeting rooms, cafe. It's really the heart of the social part of student life at UCR. So any student will at some point encounter Elliot. Of course, running your own program and being in charge of your own academic program as well as your student life can sometimes be daunting. So we have a very strong support network at UCR. You have an individual tutor or academic advisor from your very first day until your graduation. They're not psychologists, but they are the person to talk to about your academic choices. We do also have a student counselor and psychologist and a complete support team on campus should you need further help. And of course, we have a writing and skills center that helps you with all kinds of workshops in terms of time management, of writing, of meditation, anything to help you be the best UCR student that you can be. Finally, some practicalities surrounding finances and applications. In terms of the tuition fees, our tuition fees for European students are a little bit higher than a tuition fee you saw on the screen earlier, and that's because we offer a very personalized education with a very good student-faculty ratio. So for European students, you're paying $3,500 a year. As a non-European student, you pay $9,000 a year. And keep in mind again that this is a 3-year program. Living on campus for us is €400 a month, and on top of that, you pay roughly €400 for your food, your books, your insurance, a little bit of fun stuff and student life. So that's what you should account for if you're looking at University College Roosevelt. In terms of financial aid, we do have a number of need-based scholarships for non-European students. They're partial and they go up to about 7,000 euros. So that's just what we have in terms of financial aid. Then, how do you get in? What do we look for? First and foremost, you need a university entrance level. I've listed on the slide a couple of the predominant diplomas that we accept, but if you click on the link that's in the screen now, you can find out if your diploma is admissible to UCR. On top of that, we look at your English proficiency, and if you're applying for engineering, there's additional math requirements. That's the first step, though. UCR is a selective program, which is not very common in the Netherlands, but we are because we have that specific kind of education. So we select, we try to find out if you're a motivated student, if you have a diverse range of interest, if you like that small scale education, that community-based education. That's what we're trying to look for. So in the application process, you need to submit your transcript, but also, and that's more important, a letter of motivation, a letter of recommendation, and we will interview you because we want to find out if you're the right fit for the program as we offer it. Application deadlines are on the screen. We do also have a spring intake. The deadlines for that can be found on our website. It's not necessarily the most important thing right now. If you do want to find out a little bit more, normally I would recommend to come and see UCR either through an open day or through a personal visit. Right now, that's obviously not very possible. So we do have an online open day, and you can find the registration link right there on the screen right now. Our website also has an interesting feature where you can talk to a current student. So if you want to talk to a student to get the student perspective, that is the best bet I can give you right now, is to talk to a student. With that, I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you for your attention, and I'm going to give the floor to Veronica to introduce you to Erasmus University.
When it comes to great ideas, it doesn't matter who owns them or where they came from. When it comes to great ideas, what matters is where you take them and where they take you. Great ideas are the product of an open mind, of people that spot the opportunity before they seek approval, of boundless ambition that remains confident when others are in doubt, of dreams and ideals that are fearless and rise to the challenge. Great ideas need people that see the world not as it is, but how it can be. They are the entrepreneurs and the innovators, the teachers, the talents and the investors, the partners and the connectors, the dreamers and the doers. They are the pioneers that make ideas truly great by taking them to the right place, a place to grow, full of possibilities, a city that is alive with energy, and home to the business and people alike, a port that attracts and connects, and acts as a springboard for those who are ready to conquer the world. What's your idea? What opportunities do you see? Stake your claim, take the leap, and make it great. Rotterdam, make it happen.
There are three options. Is it A, because we offer Erasmus exchange programs, B, we're called after a Dutch philosopher who was born here, or C, Erasmus is a Latin word that means academic excellency. Even if you don't know the answer, that's okay. You can take a blank guess and see if you get the answer right. I see a lot of the answers are coming in, and there's a huge competition between the actually all of the options that I have named so far. I'll give you the right answer actually straight away. It's option B. Erasmus Desiderius was a Dutch philosopher, thinker, and priest who was born in Rotterdam, and that's why our university is named after him. However, you can study at Erasmus University and go on an Erasmus exchange program. So it is possible to do that, but the Erasmus Exchange Program is a completely separate initiative that spans many different universities and countries. But I can see where the confusion comes from. We get that a lot, so hopefully we have cleared that up for now. A little bit more about us. For European standards, Erasmus University Rotterdam is a relatively young university. We only celebrated our 150th year anniversary back in 2018. Initially, we were set up as an Institute of Commerce. That's why we're still very much well known for our business and economics programs. However, in the last century, we have established a strong footing in other program areas as well. Currently, we're one of the biggest research universities in the Netherlands. We're home to a whopping 31,000 student body, 20% of whom come from outside of the Netherlands. And if you look at our international programs only, the percentage is closer to 50-50. We offer 13 international bachelor programs and 50 master programs completely in English as well. I believe at the moment you should also see a link to our website for the FAQ Corona page, where we post information about what measures have been taken at our university, as well as what that means for our international students. On this slide, you can see an overview of our 13 international bachelor programs. We offer a wide variety of subjects, so economics, econometrics, international business administration, for which we're best known, but also we have an Erasmus University College, which also offers liberal arts and sciences program. And if you're looking for more fun opportunities, you can join a joint degree between Erasmus University and the Technical University of Delft by studying nanobiology. I'm not going to go through all of the programs one by one, simply because you can also find them on the website, which is displayed at the bottom of the slide. There you'll be able to find more information per program, but also you can watch the open day recorded sessions, have a live chat with our current students, as well as find the contact details of our program and admission managers. On a more serious note, when it comes to admissibility to Erasmus University, basically it boils down to having a qualifying high school diploma, and the specific programs will have program-specific requirements such as GPA, math, and English. The best piece of advice that I can give you here is to always check the requirements on the website of the program of your interest, because our admission requirements, as well as application procedure, can differ not per faculty, but per program, every program. To give you an example, most of our application deadlines are in the months of April and May, but some of them can be as early as January. That's why it's very important to check this information early on. Getting into the university is actually just half of the story. Staying in is just as important. Binding study advice is something that all first-year students, Dutch and international, across all Dutch universities will have to abide to at the end of their first year, and it can be positive or negative. If it's positive, that means that the students have collected the required amount of credit points and they can continue with their studies no problem. If it's negative, that means that by law they cannot continue with the same study for a number of years because they have not collected the required amount of credit points. The tricky part is that the amount of credit points that the student needs to collect for positive binding study advice differs per university. At Erasmus University, we require 60 out of 60 credit points, which is the maximum number in the Netherlands. And that might sound harsh, but it does not mean that you have to get 10 out of 10 for every assignment and examination. It only means you need to get a passing grade to get all the credits associated with the course. And of course, there are resets of examinations possible in case of failure, and our study advisors are available to the students, not only the first, but also second and third year. But it's good for you to consider, to have it in mind in case you're interested in studying at Erasmus University. Our students are really hard workers. We have a mixed type of campus. So our main campus, where most of the educational activities take place, is a bit like a campus you'd see in the American movies, where everything is in one location. Here, our students find not only study facilities, the library, tutorial rooms, but also such facilities as a supermarket, theater, gym, a hairdresser salon, and even a bike repair shop. If you study at Erasmus University College, then you'll be studying in a beautiful historical building in the city center instead. We realize there are fewer possibilities for students to come and visit our campus in person at the moment. For this reason, we have launched Virtual Experience, the link of which you can see on the slides as well. We encourage you to visit it to get the feeling of what our campus looks like, but you can also take a virtual bike ride through one of the most popular streets of Rotterdam and see student testimonials where they talk about what they're doing besides their studies, as well as how they like living here. Erasmus University is located in Rotterdam, which is the second biggest city in the Netherlands and the biggest port city in Europe still to this day. Rotterdam is also a pretty unique case because it has been completely destroyed during the Second World War, which means it has no old town in the city center anymore. Instead, it has become a playground for architects, and that's why you'll see a lot of crazy shapes and colors in the city center instead. If you have always had this idea of coming to the Netherlands and studying in a town with windmills and canals, there are so many beautiful places that offer that, but Rotterdam has a game of its own, and usually students that come and study at Erasmus University of Rotterdam enjoy more urban, hip, and edgy places such as Rotterdam. Housing is a bit of a hot button issue in the Netherlands because unless you study at a university of college, as Denise has already mentioned, it is the responsibility of the student to find their own housing, and the university cannot act as an intermediary between the student and the private market. Erasmus University does have a few on-campus housing buildings for international students, but they only account for about 25% of all incoming new international students, which means that the majority end up living in shared apartments, either next to campus or in the city center. In that case, they have their own room, but then they share facilities such as bathroom, kitchen, and living room with other students. Our international office, even though they cannot find housing for you, they also have a lot of help available to you online by posting tips and tricks on where to get started. They offer free legal advice in case you get into trouble with any landlords, as well as a direct helpline via Facebook. If you'd like to learn more about housing in Rotterdam or other practical matters for international students, make sure to check the website that should be posted to you as well. In the introduction, at the start of this webinar, I have already spoken a little bit about the soft landing activities, so I'm not going to repeat them too much. Erasmus University is no exception. We do have them. I'll just mention a few more fun activities, perhaps. One of them is IKEA pickup service for our international students, because a lot of the housing in the Netherlands is actually rented out unfurnished. Another activity that our international office offers for the international students is bike riding lessons in September and October for those students who are coming from countries where it is less common to be riding a bike. And that's simply because we would hate for our students to miss out on this great Dutch experience. To recap, Erasmus is one of the biggest research universities in the Netherlands. We are located in hip and modern city of Rotterdam. We offer 13 international bachelor programs and more than 50 master programs in English to a very international student body. I would just like to leave you with the last slide where you can see the link to our website, as well as my contact details, in case you have any questions after this webinar. Thank you for your attention. I believe now we were going to be going to the Q&A part.
All right. So I saw the first question that came in was one particular to Roosevelt. So I will start with that one, and then Veronica can have some time to actually read through the questions as well. The first question was, what's the difference between University College Roosevelt and University College Utrecht? And that's a really good question, because both of us are liberal arts and science colleges associated with Utrecht University. So it can be a little bit tricky. Academically, there's not a huge difference between UCU and UCR. With the exception of the fact that UCR offers the music performing program and the engineering options. And Utrecht has, for example, a double degree in physics that we don't offer. So it's minor differences between the colleges. The real difference is in the atmosphere. So University College Utrecht is located in Utrecht. It's on a converted army base just outside the city center of Utrecht. UCR is based in Middelburg, this smaller town on the coast, and it's not all in one place. It's really spread throughout the city. UCR is a little bit smaller than UCU. UCR is a little bit less expensive than UCU. So there's these small atmospheric differences. And if you're interested in that type of education, that liberal arts education, I do recommend that you get in touch with students in each of those programs to find out a little bit more. And to figure out sort of what the student body is like, because that's the biggest difference between the two. And just to see where you feel more comfortable and more at home. That's just in very, very short what the differences between the two are. And I think we should probably go into some of the general questions. Veronica, do you want to take the first one?
think one of the general questions, a lot of them concern scholarships, and I'm not sure if Marina would like to chip in with the information from Nufik's perspective. What I can say from our side is, okay, I can hear Marina coming in.
Yeah, just please go ahead with specifically for your university. But generally, there are different types of scholarships. And for non-EU students, those are for sure the scholarships from mostly, if you would like to cover the total tuition, is from your own country. Either you can choose to follow the link, which I sent to the chat. This is the link for Grant Finder, which is the portal to search for the different scholarships among the Netherlands universities, the Dutch universities, and there are some specific scholarships that are also mentioned there. So those are the Holland scholarship, which is 5,000 euros, and which is additional to what you're actually paying. So you can just reduce the amount of your tuition on this level. Or basically not on this level, but for this level, minus 5,000. And you need to choose and to check whether your university is participating in this specific one. So there are also different scholarships that are available for students from different regions, such as Orange Tulip Scholarship. And this scholarship is available for the countries where the NESO offices are existing. So please go and just check it with your specific country. So this is the very important, I would say, link for you, and you can use it for searching for the scholarships. And in terms of Erasmus, I think you will probably say more.
Thank you, Marina. In general, I just wanted to say that there might be fewer scholarship possibilities in the Netherlands than there are in countries such as the US and the UK. So the few possibilities that there are there, it's very important to be on top of that and check that information early on and apply for them, because the competition for them is huge. Denise has mentioned that there are some possibilities for students coming to UCR. There are a few scholarships for students of Erasmus University Rotterdam, but I'll be honest with you, not many for bachelor students, and the possibilities that we mentioned on our website, they differ per faculty, per level of student, as well as their background. So there's no one answer that I could give you right now, except for please check the information on our website.
Countries, as well as Bulgaria and Romania. Like I said, they're partial scholarships, they're need-based scholarships. They vary between usually 2,000 and 7,500 euros. So it's really the last push. It's not going to cover everything. You still need your own financial, some of your own funds, I would say. And how the application for that specifically works, it's a separate application from your academic application. So you need to make it through the academic application first. And that's when your financial aid application will start. Once you have been given an offer, we'll need to see all kinds of documents to determine your parental income and these kinds of things. And based on that, we will be able to give you a small buffer of sort of financial aid. And that's very particular to the UCR scholarship. It works different for every university and actually for every program in the country, like Veronica mentioned. All right, I'm going to go on to the next question. I need to scroll back up through the questions. I'm sorry. Yes, the next question is, what scores on the IB are generally required? And I want to explain a little bit about how admissions in the Netherlands works in general, because that's going to answer that question. In the Netherlands, we have a high school system that is already tracked. So we have 3 different high school systems. And only 20% of students does a high school diploma that allows access into research universities. So what we say in the Netherlands is, if you've done that diploma, we think you're capable of making it through our research university, so we'll give you a chance. Without asking for specific grades, you have to have passed that diploma. The same is then said for international diplomas. So if you've done a diploma that is at the same level, the same rigor of that small high school that we have, that pre-academic high school that we have in the Netherlands, we also won't ask for specific grades. You are welcome to start But then you need to prove yourself in the first year, like Veronica explained with the binding study advice. So generally speaking, for the majority of programs in the Netherlands, passing your IB is sufficient. It becomes a little bit tricky with about 20 or so % of the programs that are further selective. So the university colleges, International Business Administration, hotel schools, these programs can, psychology, they can select students because there are simply too many students that want to study that particular discipline, or because they offer a very particular type of education, like a university college or a hotel school. And they might have higher IB requirements. Now, in all the years that I've done this, I haven't seen any IB requirements that were higher than 34 points. So that's what you're looking at for the country overall. I can speak to UCR. We require 30 points in the IB because we are a selective program. I'm not sure, Veronica, if you can talk to Erasmus's program specifically on this.
Advice that I can give is you should check the requirements of IB for every program because they're different for most of the programs. In general, I would say they all accept 30, and International Business Administration 31. I think that answers the IB question. I see a lot of separate questions about the different programs and whether we offer them or not. I think the easiest way to answer this is to advise the students to check out the website called studyfinder.nl, which is a database of all English taught programs in the Netherlands. And there you'll be able to find which universities offer that program in English. So once again, studyfinder.nl.
Yeah, I see a lot of questions coming in about admissions, and I think a lot of those are somewhat general, but a lot of them will be go and have a look at the program and see what they specifically tell you. I'm going to go through a few of them. SAT test, is it accepted? Is it required? It's not required because, like I said, it's diploma-based admissions in the Netherlands. But some programs you can add an SAT or an ACT score if you want, if you think it helps your application. So it's a case-by-case basis. In terms of when you're applying with an IB or American high school or A-levels with predicted grades, the majority of programs will actually base an offer on achieved grades. So we will not actually look at your predicted grades, but we'll look at your junior year grade. So if that's your year 11 or your year 12, depending on the program you're in, that's what we do. And again, some universities will allow you to add predicted grades if you think that it's going to be helpful. There's a couple of questions about English language examinations, and again, there isn't a general score that will get you into every university in the Netherlands. Every program can determine this for themselves. So if you're looking for information on Cambridge examinations or TOEFL or IELTS or what is accepted for each program, you'll have to go through the program website, and we can't give you a particular answer that will suit all the universities. Let's see, what else is there? There's a question about letters of recommendation and lists of extracurricular activities and CV. Because admissions in the Netherlands is generally for 80% of the programs based on your diploma and what kind of diploma you have obtained, those will not be necessary. They will only be necessary for the selective programs, generally speaking. But again, this is something that you need to check with every program that you're interested in applying to. I'm going to sound a little bit like a broken record, but really that's the answer for everything you're going to ask about the Netherlands. It depends, and you need to look at the program website.
In the UK or in the US. I also saw a question of someone who's asking if they can still apply for the upcoming academic year. For Erasmus University Bachelor programs, I'm afraid that's no longer a possibility. Our deadlines have already passed, but there might be some universities in the Netherlands where it's still a possibility.
Yeah, at UCR, it's still possible if you hold a European passport, because we no longer have time to process these applications.
Question with regards to the non-European Union citizenship and the student growing up in a European country. I believe that is the case for all Dutch universities, and that is the university is always going to look to the benefit of the student, and if it's possible, they're going to take into account your European Union passport or citizenship, which means you might be entitled then to the lower tuition fee. Another question I saw. Oh, yes, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, please.
Just the question I remember I saw at the beginning of the chat was about job opportunities for English speakers. What is good for you to know is that in the Netherlands in general, there are no placements. So you study at the university to get academic thinking, and then it is up to you to find a job. During your studies, you might be able to do an internship and be connected with the employers via that route, or you can take career workshops that are offered at most of the universities, if I'm not mistaken, but it is up to the graduate to find a job in the Netherlands after graduation. And as it was mentioned in the beginning, those that are coming from outside of the European Economic Area are able to apply for a work visa for 1 year after their graduation, where they can stay in the Netherlands and look for a job and network to improve their employability chances. I can say that there are many multinational companies in the Netherlands, both Amsterdam, Rotterdam, The Hague, and in many other cities. But that's why I also mentioned that it might be a good idea to pick up at least a little bit of Dutch language, especially if you're planning on staying in the Netherlands and working there afterwards.
As you started to speak as well, Veronica, that I've seen a couple of questions. I mean, we spoke about English language requirements and the tests we accept, and that it's different for every university. There are a few questions on whether students need to do those tests if they've done the IB or another English taught curriculum, and the answer to that is generally speaking no. So in 99% of the cases for all the programs, if you've done the IB, or if you've done A-levels, or if you've done the American High School Diploma, you will not need to take a test, but that is something that if you do your research into your programs that you're interested in, to look at. So really, I think we're going to wrap it up. So the best advice that we can give you is use that study finder, that link that was shared earlier, to find the programs that you're interested in, and start doing that about a year before you actually want to start. Start looking at what you're interested in, find the programs, and then go onto the program website. Study Finder allows you to go onto the program website, and that's where you'll find the most up-to-date information for every program that you might possibly want to enroll in, and make a list for yourself. What is it that this program requires? Do I actually have the diploma to put in? Do they have additional requirements? Do I need to submit a personal statement? Do I need to submit a CV? When's the deadline? Because deadlines for admissions are also not standardized in the Netherlands. Some might be as early as December 1st. Some might be as late as July or August 1st. So that's something to keep track of. How do I submit my application? Because also that's not standardized in the Netherlands. There's 2 steps to an application. There is the actual application with the program, and there's the registration of the fact that you're making that application in StudyLink. And whether you do one or the other first is going to be dependent on the program. So these are some of the questions that you need to look at for each program that you're applying to. Make an overview for yourself and make sure you do what you need to do. And if you ever run into issues, there's people like Veronica and myself to really help you out. And it can be a little bit tricky because the language we use might not be similar to what you're used to from UK or US or Canadian universities. So that's why we're there to help you, and don't feel ashamed to reach out if you have a question. I think that's just the best advice that I can give you. Start your research early, look into all those different things, and just do it. Just do it. The Netherlands is a great study destination. There's lots of programs out there, and you're going to have a wonderful and unique experience.
All right, I think we are approaching the end of today's webinar, unless there are last questions from Marina to be answered. On behalf of SRT, I would like to thank you, Denise, Veronica, and Marina, for your wonderful webinar today. Thanks to everyone for all the questions and participation. We couldn't answer each single one of them, but Veronica and Denise will surely get back to you if you answered. You would like to hear from them. So tomorrow you will receive a recording of today's webinar in case you missed a detail. You will also see our upcoming webinars in June. On behalf of SRT, once again, I would like to thank you for being here today and have a wonderful day wherever you are. Marina, would you like to add something else? Right now, your microphone is now. Yes,
Right now?
go ahead.
Yes, is it? Yes, okay, sorry. Yes, I wanted to say thank you for inviting us and for getting the chance to share who Nuffic is, who NESO is, and what we are doing. So just this is the great pleasure for us to be here, and I would like to thank all the participants for their active participation here and for all the questions. Thank you.
Do you want to study in Holland? Of course you want to study in Holland. The next 100 seconds will definitely convince you. All right, let's go. Study in Holland. Every year, many international students undergo the Dutch experience. But what does this mean? What makes studying in Holland so great? Holland is really internationally oriented. I mean, where else would you find students from over 160 different countries? 1 out of 10 students is an international student. Did you know that we have more than 2,100 English talk programs? Pretty good, right? You know what's even better? The quality of our education. You won't find this quality of education at such an affordable rate anywhere else. The open-mindedness of the Dutch people is reflected in the way we educate. It's in the way we teach, the way we interact, in the way we work together. Once you're done studying here, Holland offers a ton of opportunities for entrepreneurs and job seekers. Holland is the home of some of the world's biggest multinationals such as Philips, Shell, and many more. We even have a special 1-year program for you to get employed called Orientation Year. You can be part of the Holland Alumni Network for everyone who get employed called Orientation Year. You can be part of the Holland Alumni Network for everyone who had the Dutch experience. How much time do I have left? What? 30 seconds? Well, that's enough time for some facts. Dutch people are the best non-native English speakers in the world. Holland is also one of the happiest and safest countries, and our educational institutions rank among the world's top 2%. But there's more to Holland. Holland is creative, high-tech, diverse, innovative, nicely located, exciting, has a unique cuisine and a rich history. We've got a unique culture and very welcoming people. Just barely made it. So now you know why you should study in Holland.